Well, welcome back. Time for our Impact interview, and we'd be thrilled to have one of them as our guest. Hard to describe the excitement of having both of these legendary linebackers join us together. They're part of a long list of distinguished alumni from Linebacker U, the college accolades all there, along with long and successful NFL careers. All-Americans Paul Posluszny and Sean Lee. We're looking forward to this conversation. Thanks so much, guys, for joining us. And I'm going to jump right in. You may have seen the ads for the Heisman House, where a bunch of former winners are all living together. Well, I imagine a Linebacker U house. It's prestigious and a tough-minded group of individuals. What would that experience be like? And give us an idea of something you'd like to see happen when all of the greats get together.
You were told early when you got to Penn State as a freshman, as a linebacker, that we're going to work a certain way. We're going to act a certain way off the field, and we're going to play a certain way on the field. And if you weren't going to be that type of guy, you got told every single day, whether or not it was explicitly or with the way guys worked and the pack left you behind. What I'd like to see all of our games in a film and a cowboy clicker so we can watch all of those highlights of guys running down, quarterbacks, running backs, sit there and talk ball. That's what I'd love.
When Coach Bradley took me on an unofficial visit to Penn State, we sat in the team meeting room and we watched a Linebacker U highlight. And it's LeVar Arrington, Brandon Short, goes back to Shane Conlon, Andre Jones, all these great names, all these All-Americans. And then you just knew that would be something special to be part of. Right? I remember talking to my dad after that trip. He said, if I were you, I don't know why you would look anywhere for us. And I mean, it's because the atmosphere, I guess, in the legacy of it is so special. Right? It's something that we want to be a part of because of what it means, but because of the people that made it, people that were involved in making, Penn State what it is today, and making that great linebacker tradition that exists there.
Sean, we talked with Michael Motti a few weeks ago on the show. He gives you credit for your leadership and setting the example that taught him the legacy of Linebacker U. Your impact went beyond the field, though, with your involvement in Thon, Make-A-Wish, Habitat for Humanity, and a reading program. Where did that motivation to be involved in other things come for you in your life?
Well, it was something that I think was taught to me by my parents, that it's a responsibility, with how lucky we are, the opportunity to play football, to be healthy every day. You have to go out and help. And then coming to Penn State and seeing the tradition, not only on the football field, but what you guys did off the field, the coaches, Coach Paterno, it was part of the culture there. It wasn't just, hey, something we're going to do. It was a requirement because we had to get back. We had so much support from the community at games, times when we weren't playing well. Part of the reason I came to Penn State was I come to an Iowa game where you guys lose 6-4. You had some tough games in a row. I know. I'm sorry. That's a subject for you. It's a sore subject for you. I'm sorry. Yeah, no, but my point being was there still was 100,000 people in the stands. Yeah. So we had so much support from the community. And I think we all saw it as something, hey, we have to find a way to give back and help because it is a responsibility with all the support we get.
In the 2008 Orange Bowl, Paul gets hurt late in the game. In comes freshman Sean Lee. So that group included Paul, Tim Shaw, Dan Connor, Sean Lee as the backup, and Navarro Bowman as a scout team linebacker. In 2013, Sean, Paul, and Navarro were three of the top 4 tacklers in the NFL. How did the competition in that room prepare you for your NFL careers?
For me, it's being full of the older guys, that group that you just mentioned. It was so exciting to watch Sean and Navarro and see those guys excel on the field. I mean, they'll talk about Sean and Navarro, all pros, the best in the world. To see guys like have that kind of success in the NFL, man, it was so exciting just to be associated.
I mean, it was competition, obviously, because we like to compete every day in the weight room and how we worked. But what I was so amazed was the graciousness of the older guys when I got there, particularly Paul and obviously Tim, Dan. But Paul was a catalyst for me and taught me how to work the right way, how to organize yourself the right way, how to wake up every day, no nonsense, and show up at the weight room at 6 a.m. And I just drafted off him. I slept on his couch I think I remember I probably didn't want me there half the time, but I slept on his couch. I ate his food. I followed everything he did, and it led the way for me. I mean, that to me was something that I've told him a bunch of times. I mean, it set my career in the right direction, and I think I had the motivation, but to see someone do it the right way day in and day out. You know, I complained a lot when I was young. I got around Paul, never complained, never said a word, just came in, worked every day. For me, having that in front of me and being able to draft off that, it really pushed me to a place that I never thought I could go, not only in college, but in the pros. And I use that going forward.
Well, Paul certainly seemed like he never went hungry, that's for sure. Let's go to 2008. Sean hurts his knee in practice. Guido D'Elia tells a story that shortly after, your phone rings, Sean, and it's Paul calling to say you will be back. What did that call mean to you, Sean? And Paul, what compelled you to reach out so quickly?
That pulled me off the floor. I mean, spring football going into my senior year, we have a great football team, and you're coming on a blitz and you make a cut that you've made 1,000 times and your knee goes on you. And you know, all you can think about is the frustration that you're going to miss this year and how am I going to come back? Am I going to come back the same? And then when you get, you know, one of your great friends and a guy you look up to say, listen, not only are you going to come back, you're going to come back better. And the support I got through that entire thing, not only from him, but the whole entire Penn State community pushed me through. And being able to watch that team and how great they played, and a lot of young guys stepped up. You know, we go to the Rose Bowl that year and had an incredible year.
You know, with injuries are necessary, not necessary, but they're going to happen. But it still doesn't make it easy. You know, especially when you know that you know, you're going to miss out on an opportunity. You're going to lose the chance to play for a short period of time. It's one of the most challenging things in football to know that you are not able to help your team when you know you can you know, be an asset on the field. So, I mean, I guess because it had happened to me and you know how it feels, you know how it feels. So I just want to make sure that Sean knew that he had the entire Penn State community behind him and that he had all of us support.
Guys, please hang with us for just a minute. Doesn't happen often to talk with both of you at the same time. We want to keep this going. We're taking a break on the TV side. We will continue our interview with Paul and Sean. So if you want to see the entire conversation with these linebacker legends, make sure you go to NittanyGameWeek.com for the entire interview, along with other web-exclusive content. Nobody was tailgating last week for Penn State. We found some even cuter pride pics. We have some pride pooches to show you as we head into the final minutes on Nittany Game Week.
One thing, Sean, you did complain when we would run the draw on pass stud.
Yeah, I mean, come on, man. You're killing me with it.
You
know
told us to.
Come on now. Come on, the one time. Yeah, you're setting us up. I mean, I know. Listen.
One time you came over and you're like, you were cheating. And like, you yelled at me and you turn around to me and you go, Coach, I'm so sorry. It was like, this is the nicest guy in the world.
I should have known. You know who else loved to do that? Jim Render, my high school coach.
Oh, yeah.
7-on-7 would throw a draw in there every once in a while when the linebackers were just running out of there. You know, offensive coach, I get it. It's a good lesson to learn. You should always go run the pass as a linebacker. That's just good. It's good fundamentals, good eyes, good thing to do. So I get you. I wasn't happy, though.
Sean, you are the answer to one of the great trivia questions. Name the player who picked off both Tom Brady and Peyton Manning in the same season. So your coverage skills, man, that's legendary stuff. And how much of that did you hone as a safety at Upper St. Clair?
That was huge for me, being able to play in the back end. You know, I started as a corner at my sophomore year, and then I played safety my junior and senior year, and kind of understanding route concepts. You know, just like at Penn State, at Upper St. Clair, Jim Render, one of the greatest coaches, I think, in high school sports. Being able to learn that from a young age, you know, when you come to linebacker, that part becomes easy. You know, the part that was tough for me was, hey, taking on blocks, using your hands, being able to take on a fullback. So I think that not only helped me in college, but as the game progressed and you had to play in space and understand passing concepts, I think it gave me an edge as I got older.
Both you guys. Now, talking about high school, Todd referenced high school. Both you guys were exceptional running backs in high school, okay? And there were more than a few offensive coaches at Penn State that certainly would have welcomed you on that side of the ball. Now that your playing careers are over, and you can be honest now, do you regret that you didn't play running back at Penn State? And on another note, there's a second question, because you had to deal with both these guys in practice. So a hole opens up. You're the only person there. And Michael Robinson or Tony Hunt is running at you. Which one would you rather not see? or obviously you'd rather not see either one of them, but which one would you feel most comfortable trying to tackle?
Sean, you want to go first?
Oh, okay. First thing, I thought I could play running back, but then when you get to that level and you realize the athleticism those guys have, and then when you get to the basketball court and realize you're getting run past by half these guys, I love, that was one of my favorite positions in high school, but I think I was much more meant to play linebacker, and that's a hard choice between the two of them. I would probably be a little more afraid of Michael Robinson. I think if you go back, do you remember that great Minnesota game we had in 2005?
Oh, yeah.
And he runs over that safety who was a good football player. I don't know if I've seen a hit like that where literally knocked the guy out. And his ability to make people miss, how tough he was, how strong he was, so was Tony Hunt. But Michael Robinson was a complete legend on the field, throwing, running, and then the leadership he displayed, along with Paul. I mean, those two guys, when I came there, really were unbelievable. So I'd say a guy like that who can make you miss and run you over, Mike Robinson's a legend.
I'm going to go right with Sean on the Michael Robinson part, because whenever you brought up that question, I thought the exact same thing that Sean mentioned. And never seen, number one, so Michael Robinson was not your normal supporter. See him do that to a Big Ten safety. That's one thing that I'll never forget that. And then as far as running back is concerned, I mean, I love playing running back in high school football, in Western PA. But I knew that going to Penn State, I mean, linebacker, you knew that that's where you wanted to be a part of that.
Hey, Paul, this question's for you. Okay, you were an exceptional student and always struck me as a guy who could not sit still. Now you're working on an MBA, working with TIA Bank Corporation, and in your spare time are apprenticing as an aircraft mechanic, and I believe you have a pilot's license too. Plus, you and Elizabeth have 4 children. So what do you really want to be when you grow up?
Coach, I try to keep myself so busy because I haven't been, that's the hard, right? It's like you get to do something that you love, play in the NFL and play football, and then all of a sudden when that ends, it's almost like you're 18 again, and you say, okay, so what do I do now? Well, what's next? But yeah, I mean, I just like to stay active, be involved, and learn and do as much as you can, because I guess you just want to take advantage of all the opportunities. You're right, especially family is becoming more and more is taking up more and more time. But in a good, the kids are great. The wife is a Penn Stater, so she obviously loves Penn State. Yeah, so it's been fun.
Hey, Paul, this one's for you. When my son Joe was just about 4 or 5 years old, when he really started to identify with role models. And for the next few years, he had role models like you, like Michael Robinson, like Sean Lee, like Daryl Clark. In fact, on Thursday night training table, I know he used to corner you guys and ask you guys questions. So, and Sean, you were usually the last guy to training table because you were coming from treatment, and he would not leave until you got there. And so he could pester you guys. But thanks to both. I want to thank both you guys for being great examples to so many young people. But I'll toss one to Paul. How cognizant were you that so many young people looked up to you? And how did that impact not only the way you played the game, but also how you carried yourself off the field?
Let's put this way. When we were at Penn State, right, you knew how strong and how faithful Penn State community was, and then how important Penn State football is, to the town. So the fact that you had the opportunity to play the game, present your skills on the field, and represent something, wear the jersey, represent something so greater than yourself. I think, whenever you have that opportunity, you realize that doesn't stop when you take the number. So you represent, whether it's Penn State or your last name or the school that you go to at all times, because someone's always watching. And I guess the important part was just that you always wanted to show people what you know, what you were about, what you represented, what you stood for in all.
Hey, this question's for both of you guys, okay? I was lucky. I recruited both of you from high school and watched you both play football and basketball. And both you really great players in both sports, intense competitors, and you guys could get it done, okay? And Sean, I know you did average 22 plus a game and led the WPIL. I looked that up, okay? But in a game of one-on-one, who wins now is my first question. And who wins in your prime? Before I answer the question, I want to say this. Sean, you ended my career playing with the guys up at the IM building when the one time I got switched off and you ran a dunk right over my head, okay? So from that day forward, I never played with the players again. But anyway, answer the question. Who wins now and who wins in your prime?
I would say this, and both now and in our prime, just like with my big brother growing up, it would devolve into a fight and a wrestling match at some point. I don't know if we finished that game, and I know that I know that I don't think I'd win that fight or that wrestling match. So I would probably give it to Paul.
About that, I'll tell you what, with basketball, I can distinctly remember. I think so. Sean's a senior in high school, and Upper St. Clair's playing in the WPL championship game. I'm already at Penn State, and I know this kid named Sean Lee, a linebacker from Western PA, is committed to Penn State to play football. So the WPL championship game is on TV, and I'm up at school, and I said, I want to see what this kid can do. I want to see what this kid looks like. The first play of the game, Sean gets the ball, like crosses someone over, shoots a jump shot, and I'm like, geez, this kid can move. Like this kid can move. So it was impressive to see. I mean, how Sean's athletic ability on the basketball field. Say, okay, you know that man, he's an athlete. He's going to be able to go run it.
What he's not telling you is that jump shot didn't go in. I think I airballed it. You know, a little bit of too much juice the first play of the game in the WPL championship. You know.
Well, I thought it was the best.
It was the movement and the way that you were on the court, the way you did the ball. I said, okay, yeah, he's got it.
I thought it was the best performance in a WPL game that I had seen, basketball game, since A.Q. Shipley. No, I'm kidding. But Paul, we've got one or two more for you guys. But Paul, this one's for you. If no one knew who you were, okay, and they switched on the 2005 Ohio State game, pretty soon that person's going to ask, who the hell is number 31? And as a longtime fan and a coach of Penn State, that still, to me, ranks as one of the great defensive performances I've seen, both individually and as a unit. What stands out most for you when you think about that game?
Beating Ohio State in that atmosphere, that was kind of the catalyst for the rest of the season. I mean, after that, it just took off for us. I mean, I remember the environment in that game. I'm lined up next to Dan Connor with 3 yards apart of the field trying to communicate. And it's so loud, but we can't hear each other. And just the excitement. It was, man, I'm getting chills just thinking about it. It was such an unbelievable atmosphere. And even, you play in the NFL and, playing Sunday night football, Monday night football. I mean, I never played in Super Bowl, but that environment at Penn State and the night game was an electrifying football experience a guy can never have.
That was actually my first game playing in college, and I was just on kickoff coverage and running out on the field. I still get the same chills down my back when I think of that game, and thinking of watching Paul on the sideline running down Troy Smith. I still, I talked to him recently about this, about how if you play against a quarterback who, as soon as he tucks, when he runs, he doesn't run to throw, he just runs to run. If you're playing zone, you just go and get him right now. And Paul did that all game, and the awareness. A lot of times when you're in zone, you kind of sit there and don't get the quarterback when he leaves the pocket. Paul just took off. The instincts and the speed he showed. And even when I was in the pros, I would say, hey, if there's a quarterback that just runs to run, he doesn't run to throw, I'm going to try to be like Paul Puz and run him down. I mean, watching that on the sideline was so much fun as a young guy to see.
Before I ask you this last question, make sure you tell your wife, Megan, we all said hello, okay? But your last game was played essentially on a waterlogged cow pasture in the Capital One Bowl win over LSU. As you look back at the whole scope of your Penn State career, what moments stand out for you all these years later? And by the way, I'm going to say this to you. If you hadn't got that ACL in spring practice before the 2008 season, I still say that cost us the national championship. There's no way we lose with you that year, okay? Go ahead. On 2009, though.
The 2009, that was a mud volleyball field we played on. I mean, that field was – I just remember in the game, you saw offensive tackles picking up full chunks of grass and throwing it out of the way so they could, have a set and the ball and the whole thing. To be honest with you, it was a game we were meant to play, with how we played, our toughness. I don't think any of us flinched. We loved it. I mean, halfway through the game, we felt like we were playing right. The defense was playing hard, and that was a talented LSU team. But I think all of us, the whole entire team, said, hey, this is what we're meant to do. We can play in any situation. We went out and beat a good team. And just in general, the whole experience there, being able to play in the different bowl games, being able to play in front of the fans, some of the great wins that we had. I mean, I think of that Orange Bowl and being able to beat Florida State in overtime. The great wins we had against Ohio State that year in 2008 away, being around great teammates and great coaches. I mean, it really was such an unbelievable experience. And what I took from that helped me dramatically when I moved on. And I don't think I would have been able to have nearly as much success without you guys and without the experience I had.
Hey, Sean, I do want to tell you one thing. There was one thing you weren't good at, and that was when in 2008, when I was giving the signals, and I said, Sean, can you give some dummy signals? And every time we'd run the zero blitz, you'd do something absolutely – they'd look over and
I wasn't subtle. There was no subtleness to
no, there was nothing.
the
No,
signal.
Sean, you were not subtle on the zero blitz. We had to stop you doing it, remember? No, Sean, you can't dummy signal anymore.
I think you
But
just
anyway,
pushed me
I'm
out of the way
sorry.
after a while. Yeah. Hey, go to the other end of the field, Sean.
Tom, Jay, anything else for the guys?
Nope.
No, I'm good. You guys bring back some great memories, though. Thank you.
Great talking with you guys. Thanks, man.
A lot of fun, fellas. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Take care.
Appreciate it.
Be well.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
See you guys.